subscribe my channel. My wife and I had been married for 8 years. We used to laugh over late-night takeout, plan weekend trips, and never miss celebrating our anniversary. But slowly things changed. Every time I suggested going out, she said she was too tired. Whenever I tried to hug her, she'd gently move away. When I planned a date, work somehow became more important. At first, I understood. Life gets busy. Stress happens. But after months of hearing, maybe another time, I stopped asking. The rejection wasn't loud. It came in small moments that slowly broke my heart. Still, I remembered our upcoming anniversary. Part of me hoped things would be different. I secretly reserved a table at the same restaurant where we had our first date. I even bought her favorite flowers. A week before the anniversary, I casually asked if she had any plans that evening. She looked at her calendar and sighed. I think I'll still be working late. That was the moment something inside me gave up. Without telling her, I canceled the reservation. I returned the flowers. I packed away the gift I'd bought months earlier. This time, I wasn't angry. I was simply tired. When our anniversary arrived, I left for work like it was any normal day. I didn't text her. I didn't mention the date. I didn't expect anything anymore. That evening, I stopped at a small diner and ate dinner alone. For the first time in months, I felt strangely peaceful. I wasn't waiting to be disappointed. When I finally arrived home, the house was dark. I assumed she was still at work. I changed into comfortable clothes and sat quietly in the living room. About 20 minutes later, the front door opened. She walked inside carrying several shopping bags. The moment she saw me sitting there, she froze. Her smile disappeared. "You're home?" I nodded.
Yeah.
She looked around the empty living room. No decorations? No dinner? No anniversary? I quietly answered. I canceled everything. She stared at me in complete silence. Then she asked the question I never expected. "You really gave up on us?" I looked at her for a long moment before answering. I didn't give up today. I gave up little by little every time I felt like I didn't matter. Her eyes immediately filled with tears. She slowly placed the bags on the floor. "I thought you understood. I thought you knew why I've been distant." I shook my head.
No.
"You never told me." She sat beside me and covered her face with both hands. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally, she whispered something that changed everything. "I've been terrified." I looked at her, confused. She explained that almost a year earlier, her mother had been diagnosed with a serious illness. Her mother had begged her not to tell anyone until the treatment was over. She honored that promise. Every doctor's appointment, every late night, every exhausted evening. She had carried the fear alone. She admitted that she had pushed me away because she didn't want me to see how scared she really was. "I thought I was protecting you." Instead, she had unintentionally built a wall between us. I felt hurt, not because she kept a secret, but because she believed she had to face everything alone. I reached for her hand. "You never had to carry this by yourself." She broke down crying. "So did you." For the next 2 hours, we talked more honestly than we had in months. I admitted how rejected and invisible I had felt. She admitted how overwhelmed and emotionally drained she'd become. Neither of us had stopped loving the other. We had simply stopped communicating. Before going to bed, she opened one of the shopping bags. Inside was a beautifully wrapped gift. "I bought this weeks ago," she said softly. "I was planning to surprise you tonight after work." Then she smiled through her tears. "I even made reservations." We both laughed. Not because anything was funny, because life had nearly convinced us that silence was easier than honesty. A week later, we celebrated our anniversary. Not on the calendar, but on the day we finally chose each other again. There were no expensive gifts, no perfect photos, just two people sitting across from each other, talking without fear. That dinner became our favorite anniversary memory, because it wasn't about romance. It was about rebuilding trust. Looking back now, I realize relationships rarely end because of one big argument. More often, they slowly fade through unanswered questions, quiet assumptions, and conversations that never happen. Love doesn't disappear overnight. Communication does. And sometimes